Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name is Calabugas, and once again, we're coming to July from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation startups of the future, not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell, and you'll be notified when a new show comes online. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast service, please subscribe, and please leave a note on Apple Podcasts if you like the show. Love to hear from you. Now, there was an interesting study just the other day talking about work-life balance. And the thing that was interesting about it is that they asked employees and they asked leaders the same question. They said, do you feel that you have a good work-life balance policy at your company? Do you feel that you adhere to a good work-life balance policy at your company? Not the policy itself, but in action, do you feel that you adhere to a good policy? There's a good balance between work and life. And they asked employees, and they said, no. We think it was 43% of the time. I think it was 43 or 46% of the time. 46% of the time, employees feel that there isn't a good work-life balance. They asked the same question of leaders, and the leader said, oh yes. 73% of leaders feel that there's a good work-life balance at their companies. Now, I wonder why there's this disconnect. Oh, maybe it's because employees seem to have to work all hours and be on call all the time, and those 4 a.m. emails and those immediate requests for immediate information right before a weekend. There is a disconnect between work-life balance and what the leaders think and what employees think. And everybody knows this is the same. It hasn't really changed that much for the longest period of time. Leaders always believe that work-life balance is better, but then they always assign tasks at the last minute or don't really think about their employees' work-life balance. So it's a common thing. It hasn't been around for a while. And the thing is, you're probably saying, well, why is this a problem now? This is always the case. I mean, the contract between an employer and employees has always been the same. If the employer wants to break it and their employee wants to break it, they can just break it. If it doesn't work out for either party, they can just break it. And it's a willing contract between two parties. But the problem is, especially nowadays with COVID and remote work, it seems that what's happened is that it's much easier to be a lot more flexible when it comes to work-life balance. You can go both ways. You can actually go way over the top because you don't necessarily need to factor in commuting and stuff like that in either direction. So there could be a lot less work done, or there can be a lot more work done, and more workers are getting burnt out from all the extra work they have to do because their physical location is different. So what do we do? Well, you're seeing it happen now, right now. You're seeing the great resignation occur where people are taking a really good look at their jobs and they're saying to themselves, do I really need this hassle? Do I really need to be bossed around like this? Do I have better choices? Or can I use technology, leverage technology to have better choices? Maybe instead of me living in an $800,000 box beside Bart, I can go live in a palatial ranch in Idaho and work for a company that happens to be in the Bay Area. So the flexibility is now there. And I think it's kind of a warning sign to both leaders and workers, actually mostly leaders, to say that you need to look at having a much better work-life balance at your companies, especially in this era, this new era of newfound flexibility with your workers. They can decide to live somewhere else. If you really care about the health and wellness of your employees, you really need to adhere to a better policy and not just lip service. Really adhere to a better policy of work-life balance. That's it for me for today. See you next time. Until then, don't forget to think future.